Hey guys, good afternoon. Yeah, it's
Good
12.
afternoon.
And it is April
7.
7th, April 7th, 2015. Hope you guys are doing great.
Yeah.
Today is time for Table Talk.
Table talk.
Table Talk. Table Talk. It's our Table Talk Tuesday. We try to have that up for you every Tuesday. We don't try, we do. If you like it, please remember to thumbs up
Subscribe.
and feel free to comment. There's so much that's always going on in the world. We'd like to talk about what's happening in our communities as well as what may be happening somewhat in the celebrity world. We don't get too celebrity crazy, but if we find it worth mentioning, we will mention it with an opinion about it. I like to
Definitely.
stay in the communities because there's so many times these little stories that we tell you are hidden here or
Mhm.
there, or they get a small blip, but yet it affects the lives of the people that it's happened to and the community as a whole. But it's never noteworthy to be on national news or NPR or anything like that. So we try to bring it to you, let you know what's going on in the world. So one thing I wanted to just do a quick mention on is that Tori Boo did a great commentary video on violence in the home and how things start in the home. You think that you send this kid to school and that's where they're supposed to learn. Okay, they get their basics, but the real teaching, learning happens at home. And I can't understand why it is in 2015 parents still don't get that. And they feel that if I send Johnny to school, he's supposed to get everything that he needs, from learning his ABCs and one, two, threes to be a good citizen of the world. That just is not going to happen. That's not even what school is for. And now with the No Child Left Behind initiatives and different offshoots that are coming off of it now, which is the new Common Core, um, there's just no way that kids are going to get a true education, um, because we're so focused on that test, that test, that test. So much so that it's cost those 20 teachers, or what is it, 11 or 12 teachers get 20
Mhm.
years in life.
Yeah.
I think that's in DC,
Mhm.
DC or Atlanta. Atlanta, I think it's Atlanta, because they supposedly cheated on the test. Now that is very harsh. I've been teaching for years, and you are highly penalized. You are fired, and you do have a mark against you. So it'll be very difficult to get another job. But no one's ever been put in prison.
Yeah, that's new.
So, hmm,
I say yeah, that's a new one.
hmm. With that being said, there was another child abuse case in Vegas. I had the details and I have lost the details of it, but it's been child abuse cases everywhere. And once again, I'm urging parents and adults to leave the kids alone. If you don't have kids, or if you do and you get angry with them, count to 10 or do something. Take the devices away. You've got to draw a line that says, I'm the adult, I'm not your friend, but I'm here for you and I'm here to support you and encourage you and guide you. But get your hands off the kids. Don't have your kid being cared for, babysat by some dude you just met in the club a couple of nights ago,
Mhm.
or some chick that don't even like kids or don't have them. Big mistake. Don't do that to your kids. No one did it to you. You're still living. Why do it to somebody else? And if somebody did it to you, then break the cycle. But we got to stop this violence. It is our children who is our greatest resource. They are our greatest resource. It's not money. It's not that. God puts you as a caregiver over the young to foster and to help them get on their road. And that is a huge job. It's the hardest job in the world. I'm not going to lie. Um, but you took that job on. Now be responsible with it.
I totally 100% agree. As Jack Rabbit had said, that I had mentioned that in my video. If you're not ready for children, or you don't know much about them, or you not like kids at all, just don't do it. Don't
Hmm.
do it. And then if you have, by some means, get some help. Mother, auntie,
And in this day
father.
and age, young ladies, you are supposed to be so much smarter than listening to some dude talking about, I want you to have my baby. No, I want you to have a ring on my finger. I
Right.
want you to have a job. There's some things I want from you before I bring life into this world. That's much more important. But on from there, I want to talk about the violence in Milwaukee this weekend. Milwaukee is in the Midwest. If you don't know, it's in the northern part of the Midwest, right on the Great Lakes. We are about 70 some miles from Chicago. Well, really from Illinois, about a little bit farther from Chicago, less than 100 miles, 80, 89 miles, something like that, to downtown proper, to the Loop in Chicago. And so it often is, well, it has been forever since I was growing up, that whatever was happening in Chicago, we're going to get the spillover in Milwaukee. And so Chicago has turned to what we like to phrase it as Chirac from
Yeah.
DJ Academics, where it's constantly something going on. It can be gang related or just random violence. And in Milwaukee, it's gotten to be just a lot of random shootings. The handguns on the street is ridiculous. And I understand that that's been going on, but it's absolutely crazy that it is doing nothing but escalating.
Yeah.
The kids are doing horribly in school, and the violence is going up. So you can see there's a clear correlation between that. And they have jobs there, but you got to have some skill set to have
Right.
some type of job, whether it be in a factory or in an office or what have you. But over the weekend, now this is just this Saturday night that just passed, the Saturday before Easter, they had about 7 or 8 different random shootings. People standing on bus stops or walking across the street
Yep.
or walking in the alley will find themselves being hit by bullets. There's a story where these two dudes were at a family funeral and they got in an argument, and the one was 32. He got to arguing and he decided he was done. He got in his car, but his 22-year-old relative got to shooting at his car. There was a story, all this shooting culminated in these two dudes got to fighting in a bar. The fight, it was arguing. It wasn't even a fist fighting. The arguing continued into the parking lot. Okay, they both gets out there arguing in the parking lot. They both draw a gun on each other and they simultaneously shot each other and they both died at the same time.
Ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. I've never seen anything, of course, like that. But this reminds you back in the OK Corral, the Wild Wild West. If this is what they're doing now, and the weather is still blustery and cold here, we still dealing with 30s, 40s, 50s temps. Y'all, what you think it's going to be like when the weather gets warm? When the weather
Free
gets
fall.
warm in Milwaukee, it's crazy. You can't sit on your front porch without somebody shooting or whatever. And you're not just hearing it, because you're hearing it like you in Baghdad or Afghanistan or somewhere, but they're shooting and those bullets are hitting and those bullets don't have any name on it.
Right.
So if they're doing like this right now, you could only imagine in a couple more months what it's going to be like. But I'm going to keep you abreast because I hate to see the town that I grew up in turn into something so raggedy. So we don't live in Milwaukee anymore.
No.
We moved a long time ago, but we came back off and on a few times, and now we are in Michigan, where we're in a very small town, and
Yeah.
we really don't have any violence like that. So
Yeah. Crazy. But on to more celebrity news. We see that French Montana and Diddy were spooning each other.
yeah, girl, what's
on
up with that?
vacay. It looked a little sweet to me.
Yeah, they were literally sucking on bottles of Ciroc. It's a true
Mhm.
story. Like down in the Caribbean, I think,
Yeah.
or Puerto Rico or somewhere.
Somewhere.
And they were laying up on a dock. And I believe that was Khloe Kardashian there, but they showed the back of her. but they showed French Montana and Diddy. They both were looking up at the camera, toast and cheers, all of that. And Diddy's butt was all up in French Montana crotch, and I am not
Yes.
kidding. And the funny thing about it was 50 Cent made a comment on it like, what?
Right.
Okay. But you know what? I don't know. I'm not feeling that. I don't know what's up with these celebrities. Some of these celebrities, they live in a freaky life. And
Really.
it's like when you get this money, anything can go.
Anything goes. It just goes out the window, being gay or straight or whatever. It's just a free for
Or
all.
values or morals or
All that.
whatever. Because the last thing you'd be able to say they was gay, but if you looked at that picture and it was on Instagram and I think it was on TMZ, but it was all around. It was obviously yoked up. It wasn't like they were close. I'm talking about they was
Like all up
and
on
it
each
was
other.
crotch to crotch to crotch,
Booty.
crotch to foot.
I'm saying.
It was all of that. So y'all stop.
Really. So yeah, the Mayweather and Pacquiao fight. Anybody looking forward to watching that?
Yeah,
On
they say
pay-per-view.
Muhammad Ali is going for Manny Pacquiao.
Really now? Nah, I didn't hear that.
But you
That's
know what?
interesting.
I've been watching Floyd Mayweather since we was young, and we lived in Vegas while he lived in Vegas, and so I've seen him around town. In Vegas is kind of different. You see a lot of celebrities, so you're inclined to speak or not speak. You're
Right.
not star-studded, starstruck, and all of that. But at a time, Floyd out of Grand Rapids, by the way, Michigan, which is where we're not in Grand Rapids, but close.
Yeah.
They were. Y'all know he was just so focused, with his dad and his uncle and everything fighting. In these last years, he's gotten caught up so much what I think is the social media world
Yeah.
and beefs with this one and that one and what have you. And, I always have to keep in mind that he's still very young, which he is, because he started so young, as a young teenager. And so now just in his 30s or whatever, early 30s. So he's doing what somebody his age would do, but uh, I think he should be focused on the fight more than anything else.
Really, just come out of the fame and the fortune, and I know he's been on MTV Cribs more than once and
Hmm
stuff. Just come out of all of that and be focused
So,
on your fight.
right, on the career. And they talking about they got seats ringside is $10,000 or $18,000, whatever double-digit thousands. I wouldn't be buying them anyways, whether I was there or here.
Right.
Some people were complaining or trying to make a news story out of the fact that the other hotels are not going to show the fight uh, on May 2nd. Only the MGM will. Well, it's always been like that. I've been living in Vegas since 1983, and the other hotels don't show the fight. And the fights used to be at Caesars outside actually, but they don't show the fights. They have it blocked so that you can pay the ticket to go to the fight, or at least come and bet on the fight. So even in the sports books is where they have all the TVs, and it's almost like a sports bar in a sense, but you
Yeah.
have your chairs and they look like the old desk that you can write on the side to write out your gaming tickets and what have you. They don't show the fight. That's not, when they try to put it up there, I think TMZ like it was big news. I'm like, because they never show the fight when the actual big heavyweight fights is going on. They don't, and nobody trips about it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And you either go or you work the fight if you're working, and we find out later what happened, or you watch a pay-per-view. Now they're talking about pay-per-view. I saw it $89.99. My husband's talking about he saw it for $100. That's ridiculous.
Really.
Along with the cost of cable, now you got to have this extra fee.
Right, just to see the fight. I'd rather just wait the week after.
Because usually they'll show it then.
Mhm.
But yeah, you'll be paying for that fight for a long time.
Really.
So it'll be coming on, and Floyd and them be paying getting they millions upon millions buying
Right.
stuff new. You still paying that little $89.99 off.
For real.
Good luck to you, fellas.
So we have a New York police detective. We saw a video of him that's been out on the internet being disrespectful to a driver on the highway.
No, it was an Uber driver.
Yes.
And if you're not familiar with Uber, it's like you can sign up with Uber and then you can use your car and in your community and transport people to where they want to go, and then you get paid, like a cab kind of like a cab company,
Mhm.
pay for taking them or what have you. And the cop was in a car, and the Uber driver blew his horn at him because the cop was just sitting in a turning lane. So now the cop gets out and wants to start belittling this Uber driver
Yeah.
and calling him names and everything else and making threats on him, and then tells them, well, you're the only reason you're not going to get handcuffed out and everything because you don't matter to me and I don't have the time for this. And all the while, the riders are filming
Yeah.
every drip drop of his behavior. So ultimately, the guy is pulled off the street. His gun is taken away. He is going to be working a desk. I think they should let him go because, of
Really.
course, other fellow cops are saying he's under stress and everything, but we all are under some form of stress, some great, some less. We all are. Stress is wanting something and it's not happening at this moment. You're
Right.
here, but you want to be there. Everybody has that at some point over something in their life, but to go up and to belittle somebody because you got a
Right.
badge, no, baby, that's dead to wrong. So congrats to the guys that filmed him.
Really.
The Uber guy was silent and obedient, and yes,
Right.
sir,
He
no,
wasn't. He
sir.
wasn't going off on him or anything.
Mm.
Just
He
taking.
was, and he wasn't like bowing down per se. He was a young guy. He wasn't, an old man or something. But at the
No.
same time, he was trying to go along with whatever this cop was doing just to keep the
Right.
commotion down.
Yeah. It was just all kinds of wrong. Just check out the
Hmm.
video. It's out there on the internet.
Yep.
So we here in Michigan, Grand Valley State University. I previously went there. That's in Allendale, Michigan. They had a fire at one of the apartments there because some girls thought it'd be funny to have fireworks as a April Fool's prank, but the fireworks caught on fire and set partially the apartment on fire.
They got moved to another apartment.
Yeah.
In Grand Valley, they have housing, of course, for you, depending on
Hmm.
what semester and stuff you're in. But also, right around there, they have these nice apartments. It's a beautiful area, and they have these apartments and things like that. And the landlord couldn't come out that day, but they relocated them to another apartment. They should have been kicked out because you know what?
Really.
It wasn't funny, and they didn't learn a lesson.
Mm-mm.
And
Some people's possessions were burnt, and
hmm
we saw the firemen like throwing stuff out of the window and stuff.
it was all burnt up. So
Yeah,
y'all be careful out there. They should have been kicked out of the apartment complex altogether, I
I
think.
thought so too. So we see that a Wisconsin woman steals a running car with a 1-year-old in it.
Girl, okay, hold on. Now everybody knows at this point, and we know especially coming from Vegas because it is 110 or 115,
Right,
114 in the summer, and parents have done that and found their kids dead when they get
right.
back. So here in Milwaukee, this lady's on the south side of Milwaukee. She parks at a gas station on 60th in Oklahoma, southwest side of Milwaukee, leaves her 1-year old in the car seat and leaves the keys in the car running, and goes into the store. Along comes another chick. She's with some girls in a stolen car. She gets out that car, sees this car is running, jumps in it, and takes the stolen car.
Yeah.
The girl is
Teen.
15.
Right. Crazy.
15. Discovers there's a baby in the back seat. Leaves the baby on South 50th Street. And some other chicks pick her up in the other stolen car. And the cops somehow they find her. They track her down as they're
Right.
simultaneously looking for the baby. And they see her getting out the stolen car with the other girls on 40th and Townsend on the north side, and arrest her for grand theft auto, several counts of that,
Hmm.
kidnapping for the baby.
Right.
They ultimately find the car that is still running and closed
Yeah.
up and stuff with the baby in there. So I guess that's this girl's thought of I'm gonna keep the baby warm or whatever.
Wow.
And the baby was fine and asleep, but they also sent charges on the mother. Well, sent it to the prosecutor's office to determine charges for leaving the baby sitting up in a running car.
Right. I think they really should have done that. I agree with it. Why would you leave in a place like Milwaukee? Why would you leave your baby sitting in
Hmm
the car?
In a place anywhere, and it was cold out. Um, Never, never, never. You cannot run, just get out and leave your kids and run in just for a few minutes because you never know what's going to happen. Now,
Yeah.
my mother used to do that when we were growing up. That was all the time. Or my aunties and them, we'd be in the car. But it was a different day and age.
Right.
But you can't do that now because of the extreme heat or the extreme cold. Or you don't know what 14 or 15-year-old crazy gonna come take your car
Right.
with everybody in it, or kidnap the kids out, some pervert.
Right.
It's a different day and age, and wake the fuck up. This doesn't just apply to some people.
No,
It applies to everybody.
it really does.
Have more care and responsibility for your family.
Please, Jesus, and please just
Milk.
protect your children.
My soda.
So, Mary's been back on season this year. We watched how many episodes? One.
We watched a couple of episodes
Yeah.
of it. Is it good? You know what? It's a journey.
Yeah.
You know, it's a journey, and we know that that Tina and her husband had broken up. He had many infidelities. He was a musician on drum player on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and he's still doing music. Thank you. Excuse me, guys. Soda. Okay, soda break. But he had many affairs when she was gone traveling and everything.
Right.
And we saw them go through that journey and all the tears and hooping and hollering and stuff. And we've seen Erica venture off into doing her own thing because Tina didn't want to do it.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, now all of a sudden, this new season, she wants to get back into Mary.
Yeah, but that's not a surprise though, because when you feel like everything in your life is good, now you get back on.
Right, back on
You know,
track.
it's just like Maslow's, law of hierarchy, where you feel safe and protected, and now you're ready to get back into expression, your art, or your creativity.
Right.
Has it been uber good?
It could be better.
Yeah, I'm going to say not really, but I'm a bit into their journey because all of us in life have one.
Right.
And if this is not happening to you, there's things that you can learn and grow from.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Mm-hmm.
So we hear Amber Rose and Wiz Khalifa are having some problems, but Amber wants Wiz back.
I'm all for it. Well, of course, they're not just having some problems. You know, they broke up.
Yeah.
They were supposed to get a divorce. Of course, they haven't gotten a divorce. You don't get a divorce that quick.
Mm-hmm.
But also, they were having some battles over the custody.
Yeah.
And I guess Wiz was taking pictures of her house when she was out of town with garbage sitting out.
Right.
And I didn't put no stock into that because if you come to my house on Tuesday, garbage is going to be sitting out. It's sitting out right now. Garbage is sitting out in front of my house because Wednesday the garbage men are coming. So, I mean, let's be real.
Right.
Or she had some pets and there was some animal feces outside. Okay, because she's out of town.
Right.
So there's not anybody picking it up. And I don't think they ever were rolling like that where they could keep a full staff of people, when she's out of town.
Right.
However, I'm all for it. I'm going to tell you why. I feel like, first of all, marriage is not a game to be played with.
Right.
And I feel like too many people get in and they jump out of it. And I think it takes a lot of maturity and knowing responsibility and care and love and a lot of things that you don't expect. You think it's just going to be an all the time honeymoon type of thing and we're always lovey-dovey nonstop, and it isn't even that way. It wasn't even meant to be that way. The true marriages is when the lovey-dovey fade is this dude willing to ride or die? Is this chick willing to ride or die? And if that person is willing to stay in your corner through hell and high water, you don't need to look nowhere.
Right. I agree.
So I don't feel like let's break up their marriage or whatever. I say it to my older daughters who are married when they have their little issues and stuff. I don't suggest to break up. I don't put him down or whatever. Why? Because they're gonna be back at
Anyway.
it in the next day, the next week, or
Right.
whatever. So I keep myself out of it. I make myself available to listen. I ask them, do they want my opinion? If they don't, I'm fine with it.
Right.
If they do, I'll give it to them. But I never am for breaking up. Now, if he was going upside one of their heads,
That's something completely different.
now I'm all up in that shit. I'm all over there. You know, you can trust to believe that. Yeah, trust to believe that. But short of that, mm-mm. And so I feel like they got married. Wiz was young and immature, and he has come across in this situation as young and immature.
Right.
But that's her young and immature.
Mm-hmm.
That's her mess she want to deal with. Because my man, if we breaking out and falling out, all my business is not going to be on Instagram.
It's not.
But once again, here's another couple that wants to live their dramas out on the gram.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know.
I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. Why are you airing out all your dirty laundry right there for everybody to see, but don't want nobody saying anything about it?
Right. Then you don't say anything about it. Because once
Right.
you do that, just like Iyanla said, and it'll take Iyanla to say that, once you put that out there, it is open game for
Yeah.
everybody to voice an opinion or interject themselves right into the middle of your relationship. I think it takes a real woman to be able to say, I want to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
We have made poor choices or what have you,
Right.
and I want to work this out. And that's what I feel. And that's what she would have said to him if there was no such thing as Twitter or whatever.
Right.
And that takes a real woman. It takes a lot of courage. And when you're dealing with an immature guy, those are not the words that you're going to hear.
No.
They don't know how to say that. They don't know how to come off it or be humble
Right.
or recognize we got a little boy here and let's come together as a couple and team and raise our kid. If nothing but we get a friendship going.
Yeah.
It
That's
takes
good
a
enough.
it takes a real man, a real woman to come out and say that. And girl, get your man.
Mm-hmm.
Get your man. Some people could say it could be about the money. Some people might kind of accuse you of being a person who cheated, and that's why now you want to come and apologize, this and that. Trust me when I tell you, fuck them.
Right.
Because everything, every voice anybody says is irrelevant. I don't care who it is.
Right.
It's irrelevant. And it might even have to be your mom and daddy now. It's irrelevant. What is most important is that you are doing what's right for you and what's making your situation feel good and feel right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm for it.
I am too. So I say go ahead, Amber, do it. So we hear about this kid in Decatur, Georgia that needs a heart transplant, but his behavior has been blocking him from getting it. He does eventually get it after some
Yeah,
petitioning,
girl, let's talk
but-
about this a little bit. Anthony Stokes, I believe that's his
Mhm.
name. And when he was about 16, yeah, he had some born with some heart issues and needed a transplant.
Mhm.
But he had some bad behavior and made some poor choices. He wasn't following doctor's orders, they say, as they needed. So he was eligible for a heart transplant, but they like took him off the list.
Right.
And people in his community and outside of his community, they made such a big stink about it that the hospital gave in and decided to break down and give him a new heart.
Mm-hmm. But when they gave him the heart, he went back to doing the same old,
Mhm.
same old.
Mm-hmm.
Back out there stealing and fighting and not following doctor's orders again.
Calling himself thugging, drinking, smoking, toking, whatever. And at the end of the day, he ended up in a stolen car, got on a high-speed chase from the police, crashed into a pole, and died.
Right.
So, can I say can I say this? That ultimately, the hospital was right.
Mhm.
And I'm not one person that always agree everything the hospitals say or this and that. That's not me.
No.
Not at all, actually. But in this case, these people recognize the value of a heart in a way that I think many people inside and outside the community didn't recognize.
Right.
Maybe it was, this a black dude, you trying to be prejudiced, all of
Right.
that. You put that into the mix, and that didn't need to be in the mix.
Really.
What should have been in the mix and that we should have thought about was that a heart is so important that you can't just give it away.
Right. It just is valuable, and people need it. And then they could have used that heart for somebody who really,
right, and now they can't
needed it.
use it again because of the damage that was done to him and to that.
Yeah.
Boy, we are 30 minutes long. How many more stories we got?
We have just one more.
Well,
you guys want to hang
that
in?
one. Hang in there, guys.
Hang in there. So our last story was in Detroit, Michigan, where there was a case with a little girl, her mother, and the mother's boyfriend got into it. So the mother and friend and the daughter were at a gas station. They were getting their gas and everything. And up comes the ex-boyfriend. And he comes with a gun as a hostage thing. He's coming to stick him up and shoot him or whatever. And the little girl jumps in front of her mother before she's shot. And she gets shot 6 times. And the mother, I think, twice. But they both lived, though. They lived through it all. And during the shooting, the friend called the police. And the police didn't even act.
You know what that reminds me of? I told you that movie Crash. Mm-hmm. When that little girl jumps in front of this shooter, gonna shoot her dad, who was changed locks for the store, and he was changing locks on the store of this guy, and the kids in the neighborhood where the store was located was still breaking in, and he was telling them, you need a whole new door. Right. Just putting locks on this is not going to do it. So finally the store got broken in one last time. They just tore it down inside. Right. And the guy had his daughter buy a gun, and she was the guy at the gun store saying, what kind of bullets you want? She said, I don't know. Just give me those in the red box. I don't care, whatever. Because he's not going to ever use it. Right. They weren't pro-gun. She was against gun, but she wanted to just, okay, Dad. And as it turned out, he shot the little girl, but the gun was blanks. The bullets were blanks. It was very touching. And she had on her little cape and stuff. Yeah. But anyways, that's crazy. That's really crazy. And you know what? None but God was in that. But none but God. I don't care what people say. You can believe or not believe. But there's a higher power and a higher force. And you can call it God and Buddha or Allah or Jehovah or whatever you like. But at the end of the day, there is a higher being, a higher force than that, a universal energy that enlivens all of us. Right. And it was not that mama and daughter's time to go.
It was not.
And your bullets was not going to be the thing to stop them. Right. So I hope they put you up under the jail. Really? Because when you saw that little girl jump and shot, for you to shoot 6 bullets, you saw when that little girl jumped in front of her mother, and you could have stopped after the first one. Right. You could have stopped, but instead you just kept on. You was like, F it. All y'all can die there. Yeah. So now you die. You go up under that motherfucking jailhouse, and I hope they burn you and everything else. Because what you did was wrong. Really? To the bone. So, anyways, guys, it's been great.
Yeah, it's been great. Longer.
It's been long, but it's cool. It's cool. And, yeah, we enjoyed it.
Yeah, very much so. Mm-hmm. Don't forget to comment.
And we'll see you next Tuesday. Subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.